No, no, not at all. What should I do? It's what we expect to happen. But I want our people to be very calm. I want Biafra land to be calm and peaceful. Calm and very, very peaceful. We are fighting to defend our people. Not to kill them. Yes. We are fighting to defend them. That's why I'm here. Yes. And we'll continue to do so until we get victory. Yes,
declare no election, no 2023 general election in Biafra land. This no election in Biafra land has been activated. We are going to make it a task that must be done by every Biafran. All measures will be put in place to make sure the adequate civil disobedience is implemented to stop the election in Biafra land.
Fortunately, we don't reason like that. Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us? What we want is Biafra, and what we're going to get is Biafra.
Gotten a lot of attention on Twitter. A lot of people are saying, wait, where's the outrage of for what's going on in Nigeria? We saw 4 million people marching in the streets of Paris. We saw world leaders gathering there to sort of stand in solidarity with Paris. Where are those calls for the same kind of justice for the people of Nigeria? Help us understand the difference here and maybe why we're not hearing the same level of outrage. Or is there a reason?
Yeah, good morning, Michaela. Yeah, the issue is, you know, the stark difference, isn't it? World leaders, very prominent, linking arms, walking the Champs-Elysees, complete solidarity against this and outrage against what happened in Paris, vis-a-vis what we see in Nigeria, which is truly not, it should not be surprising. Look, what's happening in Nigeria is barbarous. It's horrible. I mean, it's complete madness. Yet it's not a priority. The United States unilaterally could do almost anything it needs to do. It would be a long-term effort, but it could be done. And the United States has the capability. All the elements of power, we have those.
So why not?
Complete. It's not a priority. That's the problem. We are committed elsewhere in the world. Black West Africa is not a priority. Very stark, very hard to see.
I think you'd have to be a genius to know that the last thing the Horn of Africa needs is more foreign military bases, more weapons and more European meddling. What we call our strategic relationship isn't about human flourishing, it's about the EU's ambitions as a superpower. There's now a new great game in the Horn of Africa. Greater and lesser powers are pockmarking the place with military bases. France, the US, China, Germany, Japan, Italy, Saudi Arabia all have a presence in the tiny area of Djibouti alone. Mercenaries are swarming in from all quarters. The entire region is being militarised. War is in the air. And what about the people facing climate and food insecurity? None of this benefits them. We talk about instability, but we only make it worse. We flood the place with weapons, hand over the profits to European arms companies and charge the bill to our citizens. And then with the carnage, we go back in and we do it all again. It's a racket. Strategic relationship, it's one thing after another, isn't it? Really, it's the same as it ever was.
Fortunately, we don't reason like that. Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us? What we want is Biafra, and what we're going to get is Biafra.
One thing I've noticed, Premier, while I've been here, is that Northerners seem to have, I might almost call it, obsession about the Igbos. Could you perhaps explain that to me?
Well, the Igbos are more or less the type of people whose desire is mainly to dominate everybody. If they go to a village, to a town, they want to monopolize everything in that area. If you put them in a labor camp as a laborer, within a year they will try to emerge as headman of that camp, and so on. Well, in the past, our people were not alive to their responsibilities, because you can see from our northernization policy that in 1952, when I came here, there weren't 10 northerners in our civil service here. Then I tried to have it northernized, and now all important posts are being held by northerners.
Is this policy of filling all key posts in the north solely with northerners and not with other Nigerians a temporary or a permanent one?
In actual fact, what it is a northerner first. If you can't get a northerner, then we take an expatriate like yourself on contract. If we can't, then we can employ another Nigerian, but on contract too. This is going to be permanent, I should say, as far as I can foresee, because it will be rather dangerous to see the number of boys who are now turning from all our learning institutions, coming out with having no work to do. I'm sure whichever government of the day might be, it will feel rather embarrassed, and it might even lead to bloodshed.
Doesn't this damage the idea, sir, of all people in all regions in Nigeria being fellow citizens of one country?
Well, it might, but you are, new to our region, but how many northerners are employed in the east or in the west? The answer is
hello, Biafrans. Good afternoon. Another special day, Tuesday, the 18th day of, on the 17th day of October 2022. I want to welcome you all to this live broadcast. I'm sorry we took so long on the jingle because I actually made a blunder, an error. I thought I had sent the link to our guest, and I was actually, playing the jingle so that I had to play it so that I could be able to resend the link, and then the system was slow to actually send the message. So that was why the jingle took a long time. Thank you all for joining. Emmanuel Ifure, thank you for joining. And I can see you here, and of course we have our guest in the house already. He just as soon as I sent the link, he just joined. I've actually delayed him, because he's supposed to finish up so he can go and do his business. And also, for those of you who are watching and wherever you're watching from, please, you can share this broadcast on all your social media platforms so that people can begin to join and like the video. As soon as you like it, people will begin to join so that they can now hear the things you're going to hear today, because today is going to be a mind opener. You're going to hear lots of things that will change your perception and make you understand basic things about human existence, human behavior, human actions, and human processes. And all of these have a toll on what we are looking for, freedom. Because when we understand our makeup, we understand who we are, we understand our disposition, we have a mindset that is true and in line with the purpose of our Creator, then we can begin to do the things we need to do rightly, and rightly so. That is why we have come, in this broadcast today to actually speak to you and to help you understand this. And my guest, and our guest, let me say our guest because you're part of it, is special, of course, and he's been talking about these things. Today, he's going to be speaking on some crucial things, but first I'm going to bring him on, on the platform so that, into the studio, and then he can say hi to us. You're welcome, sir. Prince Ezem Ihanacho, you're welcome, sir. We actually, Biafrans are welcoming you today to this live broadcast, and they are optimistic, they are expecting, they are looking forward to actually hearing from you today. And I want to say, please say hello to Biafrans.
Hello, Biafrans. I welcome you to this hallowed platform, as Mazin Nandikano would say. Thank you very much, Harry, for creating this opportunity of engagement between myself and my people. I thank you so much, and good morning. Let me not take too long, so that whatever we need to say, whatever God has destined us to hear today, we'll get to hear it, and we'll get to do the needful. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You're welcome. Mrs. Maureen Hanks, thank you. And also Emmanuel Afure, thank you for joining also, and thank you for your message. Welcoming our guests. Now, sir, we want to, last time you were talking critically on the human side and the mortal side in relation to our existence, our being as a people, and you actually made some vital points. But today we're going to go deeper. We're going to make some clarity here. Now, today's topic, we're looking at freedom for the human race, and of course, if we are going to talk about the human race, then we must look at the mortal human, the immortal being, and the human being. And so, and of course, at the point where mortality becomes human, is critical, because it's a space. It's like a dash. It's like a hyphen. You need to fill the space, and what we fill that determines the transition. And so, if we look at the context of what is going to be transiting from the point of being mortal, first we are beings, we are created, we come in as beings having the spiritual side, and then we have to transit from being beings. Of course, we become mortal when we are born, and we have that mortal position, which now introduces us to our body and all of that, and now the spirit man coming into the mortal side, and then from the mortal side now we need to be prepared, and the hyphen must be filled, and then we have to transit to whether becoming human beings or inhuman beings, which of course talking about less than animals. So now I want to look at these mortal beings. The topic here is critically, says mortal beings being neither God nor animals. Now I want to look at that space, because it is in that space that we now determine if mortal beings are less than animals, or can behave like animals, and all can operate in the given concept of God. Please say something about that, please.
Thank you so much. What I'm going to try to do is to ensure that I do not sound too academic, because that in itself can become very confusing. What I want to say to Biafrans this morning, first of all, is to make sure they understand that the enslavement of man came from manipulation. So what that simply means is, I'm going to ask questions to you, Ambrose, and the questions I'll be asking are also applicable to our viewers and listeners, because the truth about this life is that if anything does not make meaning to you, if you cannot relate to something, that thing may not be true, because the truth speaks to everybody. Once you subscribe to lie, that lie will hold you hostage. Any lie you agreed to, you accepted, will automatically hold you hostage. Now, what we are doing on this platform might not be the most important in Biafra freedom, but it could be one of the most important things to free Biafran, because until your head is free, those who change you from the head first. They had to arrest your thought process for you to submit. So in trying to deal with this, I'm going to ask very simple questions And if everything I ask you can relate to, if you can relate to everything as it's coming to you, then know that that is the truth. Very simple. So I don't go analyzing or critically analyzing and then it sounds so confusing, or because anything new can be very confusing. So it may not be academic. Now, I take it that what you really want us to tease out this morning is the difference between mortal beings, because that is what we are, animals, and God, Chukwokike.
That's it.
Is that right? So,
Yes,
we have clear pathways and with critical examples to prove that whatever I am saying to you this morning is the gospel truth. Now, can I start by checking out mortal beings versus animals first? Then I look at mortal beings and Chukwokike. Or do you want me to go mortal beings with Chukwokike and then mortal beings with animals, so you can see the clear difference? Which one do you prefer?
Maybe we'll begin with Chukwokike, because
good. Let's start with God. Yes, let's start with Chukwokike. Because that is the beginning, and then we move from there to. Let me then begin to pose these questions, because the knowledge of this will make everybody stand their ground. Will get to give you your true identity, so you are not messed about by all these nonsense. Okay, I call them nonsense because example of the nonsense is that somebody convinced you, the professors, the PhDs, the master's degree holders, the first degree holders, somebody convinced you that you had no eyes to see the river in your patch, that you had to wait until somebody comes and discover your river. Now, when you get to know this, you know that other things, there are many other lies, and those are the reasons why we have come to debunk all of them and then devise the pathway for truth. Now, let me start. Mortal beings versus God. Ambrose, please give me your answers, and I hope that our viewers can also supply their answers. If those answers are all similar, then you know whatever I'm saying to you this morning is true.
Of course.
The first question is this. And what I'm asking you now is to you.
Okay.
When were you born? Give me just the year. Or, yeah, give me your year. Huh?
Should I give you the year?
Is it possible?
Yes, of course, it's possible.
Yeah. What year were you born?
1976.
1976. Okay. 1976. Am I to take it that in 1975 you knew nothing about this world?
Definitely, sure.
The same question goes to everybody listening to me now. They should check when they were born and go a year back and ask whether they knew anything about this world. If the answer is no, then everything I'm saying is true. Now, what I want you to take from this particular question is that the Pope, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Queen Elizabeth late, Prince Charles, Biden, and every human being on this earth, if I ask them the same question and they can pinpoint the year they are born, the previous year, they knew nothing whatsoever about this world. Sure. So we get that is now straightened out. Yeah. The second question. I don't want to start asking you the process through which you came. That's a different subject in itself. They are huge in themselves. Yeah. So let me not go there. The other question is, when you came out of your mother's womb, I know you had no conscience, but do you think you came in with a seed, a sand, anything whatsoever. Do you think you came with anything?
I didn't come with anything. I only came just the way I was created and formed in the womb.
So, okay. Remember, every answer you give, if it's not applicable to every human being on this earth, then I'm lying. Then I'm lying. This answer you gave, now let me ask, do you think the same thing was applicable to your parents when they came into this world?
Sure, because it's natural.
Wow. Wow. Do you also think the same is applicable to your ancestors, whoever they were?
Sure. Applicable to all.
Wonderful. So, having known this, that nobody came with anything, do you now, do you think then that any human being created nor brought anything into this world?
Nothing. In fact, by scripture too is proven that we brought nothing and we go with nothing.
In fact, I don't want to look at scripture because they will start telling you, oh, yes. you're believing this because That's somebody wrote it and convinced you. Yes. I want you to give me your own answer so we deal with realities.
Nothing.
And stop all these theoretical madness, and people are messing up their heads with absolute nothing. Right. So we are catching the gist now. Okay. From what you have said right now, it means that this world was here before anybody came.
Very well.
That everything was here. That means everything had been created before any human being walked into this world.
Very well.
All right. Okay. I'm really enjoying this, even though I know it. But because people are answering these questions by themselves, so they can capture the gist. Now, I don't even want to go asking you who you think created this world. But what I want you to know is that everybody, including science, I want you to see something, because this science we are talking about is a recreation of man.
Sure.
It's not creation, because we've already proven that nobody created anything. So science is a recreation of man. That means man used what he saw in the world when he arrived. Man saw what he heard or heard things in order to recreate from the things already created and made science. That is because I want to take you to a clear and clinical journey, because if you don't understand these things, you can't begin to actually critically analyze what somebody else is telling you to know whether they are talking rubbish or not. You just look at somebody because of how they look and because of how they sound, you think they know everything, or you think they even know more than you, forgetting that God has given you something to teach them, something unique. Right now, I don't want to take you out of where we are. So right now, we have captured the fact that nobody created nor brought anything whatsoever into this world. Now, what that tells us is that something else is responsible for the grass we see, for the sand we see, for the land upon which we all stand, for the skies, for the air we breathe, for the waters, the seas, the oceans, the rivers, the trees, everything. Something else, the moon and the stars. By the way, let me give you a very quick an interesting thing that everybody needs to know. What people don't know is that there are over 2 billion stars in the firmament. And I want people to know that each of these stars, the smallest of these stars, is bigger than this earth. Now, I just want people to begin to marvel at creation. I want people to understand creation. When you understand that there are over 200 billion stars in the firmament, and each of them, even the smallest of them, is bigger than this earth, then you will understand how foolish people are when they say human beings are overpopulating the earth. We need to reduce them. How many are we? We're still less than 8 billion people in the world. And if you can count the sand both under the sea and above the sea, then you can now begin to tell us that human beings are overpopulating the earth and we need to kill them off. But let's not go there. I am looking at creation now, because we have all owned up that we did not create anything and we brought nothing into this world. By the way, because of this realization that we did not create nor brought anything into this world, what do you think anybody who is claiming to be creativity, claiming to have created something, or claiming to own something, what do you think they are, based on what we know so far? What do you think they are?
Well, I think they are positioning themselves. You know, they're taking a place that they actually don't. They shouldn't.
So please, before we go to any positioning, we want to confirm that they are thieves. They are thieves.
Yes,
okay?
Definitely. When you try to take a position,
they
or
are.
A place.
You have to start with. They have to start with thief, but there is another thing they are. They are also insane. They are sick.
That's it. That's it.
You see, these two things you must always remember, that anybody who now begins to claim to own anything or to have created anything, even in their own location, not to talk of going to claim somebody else's, what is in somebody else's land. If you start claiming to own even something or claim to have brought something in your own surrounding, because there is something Chukwuke wants us to accept, and I'm coming to that. So I want people to know that anybody, be it doesn't matter who, or group of individuals, that begins to lay claims on anything as belonging to them, haven't known now that nobody owns anything, nobody brought anything, nobody. You must know that two factors are applicable to such individual. One is that they are a criminal, they are a thief. The other one is that they are insane. They are mad. Their heads are not working properly. So let's capture that. Please note these things down, because when you get to know this, you will understand why sometimes I become emotional. And because I become emotional at the stupidity of man, killing for things that you don't own, things you never brought into this world, and things you can't take out of this world. If that is not madness, I don't know what else is madness. And it's through this knowledge you're going to stand and firm, because when you stand in the truth, forces of this world, the natural forces, God, humanity will protect you. Even if you die of good reason, and you will come back in ways they don't know. Understand the true science governing everything we are doing here. And whatever we are doing here is transient. When you know that it is transient, you can't fear your fellow mortal being. You can't. The fear is reserved for God, who made all things. But let's just come to who made these things available? Did these things come about? The air we breathe, the sun that gives us the vitamin that is critical to our body, the ground upon which we all stand, the seas without which we are all dead, because without water, without air, there's nothing, no life here on earth. But we don't own the waters, we don't own the air, we don't own the ground upon which we all stand, we don't own the grass, the sand, we own nothing. Because I'm coming to tell you what we are here to do. So I'm trying to also differentiate between Chukwuokike and the mortal beings. That is the difference I want to ensure that we all understand today. Now, I want you to know that even science, we chose to call whoever, whatsoever, that put these things in place because nothing happens for nothing. There must always, whenever you see a reaction, there is an action that propels that reaction.
That's right.
When you see a leaf moving, it means that something is responsible for moving the leaf. Either a human being has shaken it or the air. Otherwise, the leaves will not move. So the presence of the world and everything that is in the world suggests that something is responsible. And we are certain that it is not us, because we can account for how we arrive. And for anybody who is confused about how they arrived, I invite them to go to any antenatal clinic, go to maternity ward, so they can observe, or use their YouTube, ask YouTube, how do babies come into the world, so that they can see and check whether any baby is coming in with anything. I want them to consider that baby as themselves when they arrived. I want them to consider that baby as the Queen of England when she arrived. I want them to consider that baby as their own mother when they arrived. I want them to consider that baby arriving as their ancestors when they arrived. Because if we don't understand this, we might even start worshiping ancestors, or worshiping our parents, or worshiping ourselves. We need to break these things down, so we understand who to worship and what to do with our fellow mortal beings. That's why in Biafra, the sun will rise and shine from Biafra. That will launch the truth, the real truth on this earth. And for the first time, humanity will understand what they are here to do and stop all this nonsense. Trust me. Okay, so being that we've all captured that we did not create any of these things, and we know, even science understood that it did not create and has no capacity to create anything. Science itself knows it. That is why some scientists who are deluded and who do not want to actually acknowledge Chukwu Okike, God. Do you know what name they gave God?
Big Bang.
Thank you, Big Bang. Big Bang. They had to call God something because we've all chosen what to say. Someone we call it Chukwu Okike. Some people call him Jehovah. Some people call the English call him God. Everybody has to give it some name. But it's like science and scientists who want to claim to be God, but they don't know how to go about it, will tell you that everything came through a big bang. But you see, when you dig deep, they would, and you ask them, so are you suggesting that you yourself as a scientist did not create anything? They say yes. And you are acknowledging that nothing happens for nothing. There is something behind creation. They say yes. You now know that they are referring to God.
Sure.
Because something made it happen.
Sure.
All right. We are getting there slowly. We are getting there slowly. I'm sorry, I don't want to be thirsty today, and I don't want to be emotional because we are learning. We are all learning. Now, we have all seen that whether we call him Chukwu Okike, whether we call him God, whether we call him Jehovah, whether people call him Allah, and whether he is called Big Bang, every mortal being is accepting that they did not create anything. Every mortal being is accepting, but some are denying by still calling themselves, I am a creative, I'm the inventor. Nobody, everything had already been invented. Everything had already been created. You came empty. Don't claim what you are not.
In fact, their denial is an acceptance in some ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can spin it on its head. Their denial in itself is an acceptance. Absolutely. There you go. So, are we clear now that we are only mortal beings. The reason for being mortal is because mortal tells us about our transient nature, that we must, the physical being that came out of the womb must fizzle away. That is where the mortal comes from. Like I said to you, anything being explained and you can't relate it to yourself might not be true. But if it sinks in, you know it is true. We are mortal beings because the mortal part tells you of your transient nature, that this skin you're wearing, this flesh, must go away. The being side tells you that there is spirit in you. There is spirit in you. That spirit could be negative as well as positive. The being, though basic, is loaded with spirit as well as body. The being, yeah. I want you to. So we are all mortal beings, but within that mortal beings, there are two components: the human and the being. Do you understand this? Are you capturing this? Yeah. Now, I want people to know, because remember, we are coming in totally empty. The same way we come in is how animals come in. Now, I'm moving from God, okay? And I'm trying to now introduce animal into the equation so I can show you the difference there. Because remember, the subject today, from what I'm hearing, is that we need to understand what mortal being means and who we are. Because without that identity, we are finished. Any baby born, no, you can be a professor. If you don't know your identity, you are lost. Your identity is key. Because without your identity, you wouldn't know your purpose. You wouldn't know your purpose, and you wouldn't know your origin. You don't know who you are. Yes. I hope our listeners are getting the gist. That's the most important. Now, the way we all come in as mortal beings is the same way animals come in, and that is what we actually have in common with animals. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Sure, I can.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, your mouth was moving, but I couldn't hear you. Now I'm hearing you. Okay.
I can hear you, yes.
All right. Now, please let me pose it as a question so that I'm not talking and then it's looking like facts, but people might not understand it. Ambrose, do you agree that the same way we come into this world through our mother's womb is the same way all animals come into this world?
Yes, every female being, or no, not being, every female, whether animal or being, have a womb. So that womb carries their kind. So we all came in from one womb or the other.
Wonderful. So I want to show you what we have in common with animals, and then the difference begins to emerge. So as we are all coming in empty-handed, all animals are also coming in empty-handed. Is that right?
Correct.
Is it then true that the animals see everything that we see? They see the waters, they see the seeds, they see the grass, they see the trees, they see everything. Do they see them as we are seeing them, just from the physical side?
No.
I would say yes, because they have eyes. They see these things. They might not know. They might not interpret them. They might not know.
I'm looking at the interpreting side.
Yeah, I know that you answered no, because you're looking at whether they can interpret them to know what they are. I caught that.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes and no. Yes, because they have eyes, they can see these things. No, because they can't interpret what they are. The only thing nature designed them to do is to interpret the one they eat, to know this is what we eat. Apart from that, they only see these things. They cannot read anything into them. Nature only gifted them the power to recognize the ones to eat. That's why we say animals are instinctive, and animals are mainly propelled by nature. That's why when it comes to nurturing, animals nurture very briefly. I told you how a 3-year-old ape becomes totally independent in the harsh wild. Even a grown human, are they really, can they survive the wild without instrument, without gun, and without? Do you think they can? No. But a 3-year ape can survive. In fact, becomes independent because animals nurture very briefly due to the fact that they are propelled primarily by nature. They are instinctive. But I'm not going there yet. Let's keep coming back so we don't lose track. We have agreed that animals and mortal beings come into this world through the same process, even though they all have different gestation periods in the womb. And we are not going there yet because these are the things we will take time to teach our children from infancy and break it down to them so they can explode and show the world what we are here to do. And we are going to shock this world because God already has ordained Biafra to come because his kingdom must reign on this earth. Okay, so let's not go into those ones now. I want to keep it simple so that we can get this thing established today. Animals, mortal beings, they all arrive and see everything in this world. And all animals are restricted automatically through nature to be just instinctive and only identify the basic things, very basic. And remember, everything assigned to each species to do and to eat is assigned across the globe. That's why what an ape eats in Africa is what an ape eats everywhere in the world where you see apes. The type of nest a particular bird type builds in Africa is what the same brand of bird, the same nest that they will build wherever you see that kind of bird. I need you to I'm trying to now separate mortal beings with animals so we can understand. And don't let them fool you when they say, oh, well, because I'm going to come to cultivation and reproduction of food very soon. And these lunatics who try to confuse you will say, oh, well, you can't say only human beings cultivate. The honeybee, the bees, they produce what they eat. Now, don't even go there because they are trying to confuse you. The bees are also obeying the call of nature. Okay, that is what they are assigned to produce. And when you check these bees, yeah, it is the same honey they produce across the globe, the same type. They cannot vary it. They can't, it is standard. Okay, that is what nature assigns them. Because when we come to human beings, mortal beings, sorry, you begin to see what God, the power God gifted us, but with limitations. So because I want to separate these things. Ants, birds, fish, animals are given standard natural ways of behavior. But I'm going to tell you what God did with us so we can even alter the behaviors of these animals. We can alter them because God, that's why we are the last part of creation. God laid down all the raw materials in this world, okay? And after creating man, creation stopped because God wanted to work in partnership with man so that whatever else is required, because all the raw materials are here, God through man can begin to do the rest because everything is already here. Okay? And what God then did that is different from to man, that is different from animal, is that to each mortal being, God planted something unique because, and that's why the scripture tells you when two or more are gathered, what God did there was to nullify the individual, the self, from being an achiever. The self can't achieve anything. The self can never achieve anything. I can have all the ideas, but if I'm not working with you, I'm talking to the people, that idea would mean nothing. The self means nothing. So I want to show you now what God gifted man to the extent that our behavior and the way we even treat animal can alter their behavior. Let me give you a quick example of this so you know. Do you know the little animal called squirrel? Osa? Squirrel.
Squirrel, yes.
How do they behave in Africa when you see them?
Normal jumping, climbing, and running, you know, with their tail.
Don't put normal in that because it's not normal.
That's their
where
instinct.
I come from, where I was born in Ogwa,
Yes.
Mbitolu, Imo State. When any squirrel sees me, the speed also ogaba, the speed ogeje adashi to the tree, but real, now. But do you know that when I go to Trafalgar Square in London, or even walking around the park, I see the same squirrels, but they don't make the same run. They don't dash like that. They even come around to see whether I have something for them.
It's just like all these fowls, you know, also this hen and cock and all of that. They are Greek type. They run to you, whereas the native type will run away when they see you and all of that. It's like that.
Now, I am telling you how human behavior alters how animals react.
That's it.
Do you know? Let me give you another example of how we alter things so you know what God gifted us as mortal beings. And that's why we can carry experience. Do you know that we can get, okay, let me ask you this question. Do dogs eat grass?
No, normally they don't eat grass.
Normally, dogs don't even look at grass, let alone consider it for eating. They will not touch it. Right. Yes. But mortal beings that God made us and gifted us the power to alter nature, alter animals, even alter ourselves. That's why we do plastic surgery. We can alter things. Yeah. We get dogs to eat grass.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, because all we need if we want it to eat grass is to blend the grass with meat, and before you know it, the dog is eating the thing like no man's business. Now, I want you to begin to see what God did, and when you understand these things here, you'll be so angry and frustrated at these lunatics, because that's what they are, who claim to know everything but they know nothing. And who went and lied and lied and lied and lied. But I don't get much angry with them as I get with the fools who agree with them, and they are carrying PhD. They say they are professors. They say they are, but they can't think. They're just buying into what somebody else convinced them to believe. So we are already psychologically defeated. Don't you know that everything we do comes from the head? Once you're defeated psychologically, you're finished, because you have to yield at every given opportunity. In fact, you will yield before you're asked to yield. because you've already been destroyed mentally. Now, what God did was to give man the power of dominance over the earth, not to dominate themselves.
Somebody was just telling me that, wow, so you are from his place, from her place. I don't want to mention the person, so that maybe the person doesn't want to say it publicly, you know. That,
no,
wow,
no worries. But we must dislodge fear. Fear has nothing to do with humanity.
Yes.
Look, when you are standing on the truth, don't fear, because look, don't let them frighten you with death, because they themselves must be killed by death.
Sure.
So don't worry about, don't allow fear to rob you of your glory. Don't allow fear to send you to destruction. Because if you entertain fear, it means that you might not even be able to rescue them. These people are dying. These people are confused. These people need your help. And without the truth, you can't rescue yourself, let alone rescue them. So forget about fear. Being that all of us are dying anyway. Isn't it better to die in the truth than to die? Because when you are afraid of lie, you are afraid of truth, you become a liar automatically, because there are no middle grounds.
Sure.
So people need to understand that. So don't be afraid of your fellow mortal being. You are all subject to the same death. Okay? And the all die be die, as they say. Now, God gifted each man, each person. And when I say man, I mean women too. God gifted each. That's why even when you give birth to a baby, begin to respect that baby, because that baby is coming in with something special. Every fetus, every human fetus, okay, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. I don't want to go into the process of, gestation yet. We might have to deal with that as a separate subject. And if you know the amount of sperm released and how one clicks, you will understand that every fetus is a miracle. It's a miracle. It's a divine miracle, because it's coming with a special, unique purpose. It has something to accomplish. And remember, everything that is unique to you is only for you. That's why when you understand it, you can't go and kill another human being. Because once you kill that person, whatever gift they were meant to deposit here, no human being else can deposit it, and you've robbed yourself of something. And that's why we want to do great work with children, because once you can get children not to think of doing evil and focus more on their unique essence, oh God.
So basically,
Anyway,
in Biafra Nation, we want to begin to focus on the children as they come out of the womb.
Yes.
We are putting in them what they need to know. And
absolutely, because they are fresh. They want, because you see, these adults are already conditioned to think the wrong way. You see, even when you were introducing this thing, you were even talking about human race. But when I analyze human race now, that you find that there is nothing called human race. There is nothing. We are racing to nowhere.
That's our target.
No, the only race we have is on the track when we run. There's nothing called human race. Because you can't have human race and not have a horses race divided in color. We have the black horse and the green horse and white horse around. So these are all the nonsense these people put into here to wage war on themselves. Yeah. So but don't worry, that's a different subject. Anyway, very quickly, I wanted you to know I'm gonna hang on for a while, because my next appointment will be in about 45 minutes. So I'm fine. So we stay a bit and take some questions if there are any. So God gifted each fetus a unique gift, and gifted man what we call dominion over this earth. without that, and then capped it with what we call free will, so that even though you are gifted, it is still up to you. You might decide to use your gift or not to use your gift. It's up to you. Free will. You might decide to sell your will to somebody else. You might decide to be lazy and just to float with whatever comes. It's your free will. Let me illustrate this unique gift and the free will by using the seed. And I want to ask you these questions. You know the seed we cultivate. You've already agreed that you didn't bring it into the world, so you don't own the seed, do you? Do you? Please answer me, because I need to hear. I still can't hear you.
Sorry, I was muted.
Something is wrong. I can't.
No, it was muted.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay. So you don't own the seed. What about the soil that you engage the seed with? Do you own the soil?
No, I don't. None of them. I came to meet them.
Okay. I'm asking you to the audience as well, because we are looking at the truth. We are not making up with all these nonsense. This idiot flooded the world.
No, and even next says no, sir.
Wonderful.
So.
Wonderful. 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 So they are just. Now, I want you to begin to see the power of free will and the power of dominion over this earth. Remember that everything the animals eat naturally are universal to them across the globe. Yes? Whereas with mortal beings, because we are given dominion, what's the question?
I don't know how this relates with what we're saying, but I just put it there so you can see it. So maybe there's a way you can answer it in line with this teaching.
Today.
Yes, you can actually, sorry please, you can actually answer it in line with what we're teaching. You know, sorry please.
So we will do, let's just take it one step at a time. So let me I just want to illustrate something so you begin to see what it is we are here to do. So we've accepted that animals see these seeds, and animals can see the soil, but they have no interpretation of the seeds nor the soil. They only make use of them basically, and can only eat whatever nature offers them. But it is only immortal beings, because God gave us dominion over the earth. That dominion implies that we are here to replenish the earth. We are here to walk in partnership with God through nature to replenish the earth. That is why every animal in this world cannot cultivate, will never cultivate. Rather, every animal must depend on us mortal beings and or nature for the reproduction of what they eat across the globe. They must all depend on mortal beings, you and me, and or nature. Now, I need you now to know the power of autonomy and the power of freedom. The seeds that we engage with the soil are not ours. But because we are assigned to work in partnership with Chukwokike through nature, our part of the partnership is that it is our duty, it is our practical duty to engage the soil with the seed. But that duty comes with free will. It does, you can be, the seeds can abound, but you can choose that you're not doing anything.
Of course.
But it's important you know that when you make that choice, make sure that you understand that it means that you don't want to eat, you want to die hungry. So don't go into a place of worship and start praying for miracle. Because no matter how much you pray, God will not come down to take your seeds and put in the soil. Remember, when we refer to seed, the seed has a different metaphoric interpretations. The seeds also include your individual gifts God put inside you. These seeds also imply that. Now, I need you now to understand something very important and understand why animals are basically homogeneous when it comes to each species. But in humanity, mortal beings are individuals. Would you agree with me that what we eat in Alibo, what we eat in Biafra land is different from what they eat in India?
Sure.
Can you begin to understand? Can you begin to see?
Yes.
Would you agree that what they eat in India is different from what they eat in China?
Sure.
Okay. And also, would you agree with me that because we are gifted with unique seeds and unique food type, that every community has, and every individual has the capacity to go and cultivate, reproduce, and multiply their unique food types? Do you know that everybody has that freedom?
Sure.
That means you can go and cultivate and produce your own food and multiply it.
Yes.
Without depending on anybody. Okay. So if that is true, then do you accept that your survival then is dependent on going to destroy Britain? No, do you think so? Do you think your survival, being that you can go and produce what you eat and reproduce it and multiply it, do you now think that your survival is dependent on going to destroy Britain?
In fact, it's the other way around. Britain became, because they don't have these facts, they thought that their survival depends on coming to destroy us.
No, I just wanted us to own up, because whatever we own up is applicable to them and applicable to the rest of the world.
Yes,
so I just want people to see the truth for themselves before you relate it to other people, and then understand how mad these people are. Because until you understand how mad these people are, you will keep listening to them and think they know what they're talking about. It's not about, I'm a prime minister, I am Archbishop of Canterbury. Look at how long my robe is. Look at my collar. No. You got to know these people for what they are, so that you know that you need to save these crazy people. They are crazy. There's no other word for it. So I needed people to appreciate what God made us here to be. So the question then is, because there are lots of things for me to tell you. So the question now, based on the little we have just said, do you think then that mortal beings are animals?
No.
Do you think that mortal beings are God?
No.
Now, let me show you the madness. They managed to convince you that they discovered your river. They managed to convince you that you are primates to apes and monkeys. They also managed to convince you that, oh, well, mortal beings are basically animals. They managed to convince you with all these lies. Now, this is the message to you, to them, to me, and to humanity. This is the message. and I'm sure you will agree with me. Perhaps the message will still be posed into a question form. You have to pose it as a question so that everybody can own up to it. Right. Knowing that, I'm coming from this angle now, knowing that animals are basic in nature and are instinctive, do you think animals can plan evil in advance?
No.
So, do you think if an animal is chasing you and you run into the house and shut the door, that the animal still believes you are still existing?
No.
Do you think that that animal will now come to camp in front of your door waiting for you to come out?
No, it goes its way. You're no more in sight and out of mind.
Do you think
you're not in sight?
Yeah, I'm coming to something. Do you think apes, being that they say you might be primates to ape, do you think apes can make guns or turn anything into a weapon? Do you think apes can deploy or use weapons? Have you seen an ape coming with a gun and waiting for you in your house to come out?
No.
Okay. So now, do you now agree that if these people who think, who believe, or who accept that they are basically animals, if they were to be animals indeed, if they were to be animals, that the world will be a safe place? Do you agree?
Sure. Definitely. Animals.
If they can now act and behave like animals, the world will become safe. You agree? So does that then make them liars when they say somebody is behaving like an animal? Is it possible for a mortal being to behave like an animal?
No, you either can behave less than an animal.
Impossible. But the fact that you are saying that you are primates to ape will not stop you from carrying out experiments and producing weapons, producing poisons, and planning to kill human beings in mass. The fact that you say you are an animal, basically an animal, will not stop you from cultivating food and putting poison in it.
Sure.
So what that simply means is that when a mortal being believes, thinks, or accepts that they are animals, they become sub-animal in nature. They become sub-animal in behavior. Their actions will now become worse than that of animals. They will become the highest threat to human beings on earth. To the people who become human beings, these beings will create havoc because in their minds they believe that they are animals, but their actions will be worse than that of wild animals put together. Are you getting the gist?
Correct. Very well.
Let me stop here so far. Let's see if you think the gist is not captured. So am I to take it that you can now appreciate that mortal beings are neither gods nor animals?
Yes. Because animals have a moderate or a static or is already programmed
standard.
Yes, a standard or a programmed pattern of operation. It's something that is just like something
it can be altered by mortal being.
Yes, can be altered.
And our altering ability comes with limitations because in as much as we can change what a dog can eat, we can never, due to our limitations, we can't get a dog to go and plant its own seed and cultivate and produce its own food. We can never do it because our altering ability is limited.
Sure.
It's important we understand that because if we don't understand it, we might now switch and start thinking we may be God. No, we alter with limitation.
So which means that the frustration that comes into the mortal is actually based on what they have actually not known about themselves. So that they now begin to react less than animals.
Absolutely.
Because when they think that they want to, when they think that they're actually animals, they're actually less than animals.
They automatically become less than animals immediately. Once you think you're an animal, you become less than animal. Because you're going to act worse than animals. It's automatic.
Because you have a mind, and that mind causes you to reason. And as much as you can reason, an animal can't reason, then you are going to reason out things which you try to reason out as an animal, and then you discover that you end up becoming less than an animal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got, well, you're a very good student. Very good. Very good.
So
and that's
okay. So now, are we going to say now that okay, somebody is just talking about who, I don't know why this person is so particular about Uzodinjo or Uzodima, as he's putting it. He's saying Uzodinjo is less than, is an animal for now. Thanks. Well, according to the teaching here, you can't say Uzodima is an animal because he's less than an animal. Based on what they are doing, they are behaving less than an animal. Now, can you please tell us, maybe our people need to understand the position, or they have this understanding of why an average person who is fighting their own freedom, like the governors, the politicians, and all of that, how they are less than animals. Maybe they need to understand that, so the person can understand how to position these governors.
Yes, you see, from everything that we have basically illustrated, it now shows you, and I think I need to now get people to understand why these people are behaving the way they are behaving, by us examining the two vital components of mortal beings, the human and the being. Okay, so you can see where these people are coming from and why they are stuck, why they are behaving worse than animals. The being side of a mortal being is our basic, just like animals come out as being, as just what they are, basic human physical side, just that physical side. Because the human doesn't play a part. The human is in you, but the human is now the God in you, which actually can represent all sorts, because that spiritual side is your power. And if you don't plug it, that's why we talk about nurturing your human side properly. Because if you haven't nurtured it properly, you will not moderate your being side. Your being side is less than animal. Your being side is less than animal. That's why it takes a baby even up to 3-4 years before they can sense, in fact, up to 2 years at least, before they can identify danger. Do you know that a 6-month-old baby can put their hand inside a lion, not knowing that a lion is going to kill them? But a week, in fact, a 2-day-old puppy would know the danger immediately, will start sensing danger and moving. So I want you to know how, when it comes to being, okay, how low we are. God actually made it that way so that we can, if we are spiritual enough, we can understand that we are nothing. We created nothing. We brought nothing. We couldn't have been in charge. So that's why the being side of a mortal being is that low in performance. It takes so long, and that's why we must nurture from infancy to adulthood. Okay? So when we come in as beings, with our human side on standby, waiting to be activated and properly nurtured, if we fail to activate that human side and properly nurture it, we can grow and become a governor and become a president and become, in fact, most presidents and most governors in this world remain in that being state because their human side is still not activated. And they still not, it's like having a television in your room, but you've not switched it on. You haven't plugged it into the socket. It will remain like that. It will never bring any pictures. It won't do what it is there meant to do. The same way your human side is inside you, if it is not activated and properly nurtured, it won't serve the purpose for which you are, and you can't.
I want to ask a critical question. I want to ask a critical question now. Now, the question I want to ask right now is this: you know, because we want to actually help Biafrans to have a perspective to how they can because now, just like you said previously, the adult person has been corrupted based on issues. You know, it is easier to bend the children and mold them to, you know, so that transition can be smooth. But now it has come to where we have a basic problem where some people have been formed less than animals. Some people have been formed to be, you know, very, very, very horrible, and all of that. Some people have been formed to be humans, and all of that. Now, what are the factors? An average Biafran, let me bring it down to Biafrans. What are the factors that an average Biafran can actually avoid so that they will be able to correct that, you know, that situation of that they have attained, especially being less than an animal? Because based on the fact that they have gone through a process that has altered that ability to behave like a human, some of us have now been reduced to less than an animal. Now, what are the factors we need to begin to avoid right now that will help us get out of that realm of less than being less than an animal back to becoming humans?
Right. I see your question. Now, you remember I said to you that everything begins with awareness, knowledge.
Yes.
That's where it starts. And I think that's the first thing we are doing.
Yes.
Because every mortal being still has a chance. That's why you can't condemn any mortal being. And that's why programs like this should be made available to people, even like Uzodimma. All of them need to be, because information, the right kind of information, not just information, the right kind of information, when applied, is the power. Information is not power, because information can be wrong information. And information not applied means nothing. But the right information applied, application of the right information is your power. So it begins with the hearing of the right information, which can trigger all sorts of things in individuals depending on where they are in the scheme of things. Okay, so this is the first move in that. Now, I tell you what happens with the right information. The right information weakens the culprits. Because first of all, they get to know that they've been caught out. They get to know that their real and true definition, who they are, what they have become, is now exposed. And then others who are in the know would now know that we need to do whatever it takes to stop these people. Otherwise, they're going to ruin it for everybody, including themselves. Okay? So the information, the right information becomes very powerful, and people will begin to adopt their own unique ways. Remember, we are all unique. When that information goes to people, who begin to adopt their own unique ways to stop this madness, because now they know these people are insane. They also know that these people are thieves. They are insane because they don't know what they're doing. But what they're doing is creating havoc in humanity. So individuals will begin to now think out modes. Like I'm telling you that my own mode of correcting this is to target the kindergartens, the primary schools, okay? Because that is where the root of the tree is going to transform the tree. Whereas, as I'm saying what I'm saying now, individuals will begin to understand what is propelling these activities of these individuals, because they are still acting as beings without their human side, without their human component. That's why they're acting worse than animals. They're destroying lives. So now, if I were to advise everybody, I will advise and say, look, the first thing you understand about your enemies actually tell you what they want easily by their actions.
Sure.
I don't know. That's why I stand back and I say to myself, All these people talking Obi, are they mad? Can they see that their enemies have already told them what they don't want? Your enemies, the Fulani, you have to ask yourself, why is Nnamdi Kanu in detention? Because Nnamdi Kanu is pursuing what these enemies hate most. Your enemy will tell you exactly. Their enemy will go on the opposing side immediately once you go for what you need, what you should have.
Yes.
Okay? Your enemy is prepared to tolerate obedience because somehow it still would work for them. Somehow you're still in the same bag and they want you to remain.
Sure.
Your enemy will tolerate, oh, let's debate the Constitution. Your enemy will tolerate that because you're debating the Constitution does not mean that you are trying to run away from the cage you are in.
Sure.
So your enemies already told you that what they would hate most, the thing that you would do that will not, that they don't want, is your freedom. So it's not actually up for debate. You have to, if you're a genuine freedom fighter, if you're a genuine human being who understand your identity and your purpose here on earth, you will stick to freedom because freedom is an entitlement given to you by divine providence. God gave it to you. You can't allow your fellow mortal being that came into the world the way you came in to now steal it from you. I mean, it's almost insane as well. So you are as insane as the person who is enslaving you by accepting to remain in bondage and to be happy with any little thing you are given when the whole thing belongs to you. That's madness. There's no bigger madness than that. So the practical things every Biafran need to do right now is to go for freedom at all costs. It doesn't matter what it costs.
And that begins with understanding. Now, before you go on, you take it from there. In case you have a question, you can type it, or you want to make a call into the program to actually ask a question. If you want to make a call, you make it. If you want to type the question, you type it. The number to call, I will display it right now. The number is +212 707 898 194 +212 707 898 194 +212. I'll take it for the last time. +212 707 898 194. So the basic beginning of changing the narrative of what we already have right now is by information.
Yes. Very important.
Orientation, teaching like this.
Yes.
So that means
because whatever you haven't understood, you can't deal with.
You can't deal with.
Or
so
you deal with in a wrong way, won't yield any result.
Okay, so that means the people must need to yearn for it because they have to yearn for it to be able to get it.
Yes.
So things like this, such kind of teachings and all of that, then would help because the basic freedom we actually require, as you said initially, is the freedom of the mind. By the time we are free on the mind realm, we don't need to worry about the things we do because the mind will regulate the things we do
automatically. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Nnamdi Kanu couldn't have been doing what he was doing without freeing his mind and understanding.
Okay.
Who he
could actually endure the pains. He could actually endure the torture. He could actually endure the situation because his mind is free. His mind
because he can't take anything less. It's almost criminal to come to the truth and take anything less. No, it's criminal. That's why a genuine Biafran is unbribable. You can't bribe a genuine Biafra. A genuine Biafra would never go for freedom if he is not seeking for the freedom of everybody. Because a genuine Biafran understands humanity, knows why we are created, knows that when they try to impede and restrict you, that they are restricting themselves as well. Because the other person has something in them to contribute that will make you better. So So the truth is so clear. You know, God made this world and made it very simple. People complicated it by trying to steal, by trying to rob, by trying to be foolish, by being insane. That's just how we complicated it. But we're going to rewrite it. We're going to change it. We're going to bring the truth to the fore. We're going to construct what I call human-friendly, human-compatible concepts, ideologies, theories, narratives, modules, etc. That's what we are bringing. And that's why Biafra will be the heaven on earth that will shock the whole world, because suddenly human beings are asking, oh, so this is what human... Now, let me ask you this question. If humanity can develop the way we call it development everywhere you go, based on lies, what do you think humanity will do when we begin to base our development on the truth? When God is activated in our lives to do that which God created us to do, what sort of things do you think you'll be seeing in the world? The beauty of humanity will be revealed. The beauty, the glory of heaven will come down on earth. And Biafra will kickstart that, and people will be asking, oh my God, so this is what human beings are supposed to... How foolish have we been all this while? How stupid? Who derailed us? Why did we buy into this madness? We will regret all this nonsense we are doing. And that is why all the evils of this world, they don't want to see Biafra come. They have an idea what is coming. Yeah. But they can't turn the wheels now, because God is here. And because God, you know, let me tell our audience something they must know. The way we are created as mortal beings, we are powered by the spirit. And because the spirit in itself, on its own, can't function here on earth. The spirit, be it evil, be it good, awaits us. It is mortal beings that invite them in, because without the invitation, they can't come to work with us. The only way the spirit, that's the whole reason why God created us, okay? So that we can walk with God through nature to implement the purpose for which we have been created. So we need to capture that, so that we invite God in our lives and activate, because by activating our human side, we've invited God. And when we now walk just with God, not this devil crazy people that is so basic, we will begin to harness the things of this earth. Look, the natural resources God put in this world, we haven't even touched them. There are loads that are undiscovered because of the stupidity of man. Because all we are doing here is to restrict people from their individual gifts. There are so many things undiscovered. So many. It will blow your mind when you get to know. But we're going to unleash these things when Biafra comes. Because our focus will be to ensure that every baby that comes here, that we provided that baby with the enabling environment to activate their real individual unique potentials, which they're going to contribute to the overall equation that will marvel the world. Trust me. Trust me.
So before I allow you go, because I know you have to leave now, so you can do what you need to do now. You pointed out something clearly. You said that the spirit requires the mortal stage to be able to express, what it has, and that is why the mortal being, operates by the spirit. And so, which means that if God would actually want to perform anything, he requires a mortal. He requires a mortal. So if God requires a mortal, then it simply means that if the mortal would actually achieve anything they are going to achieve, they actually would have to invoke the spirit also to be part of what they have to achieve. So now, in the context of Biafra, we can't sit by and watch and expect Biafra to come, which means that we must bring Biafra by our action. And to do that, we must invoke the spirit, because it is a spiritual concept that needs to be expressed in the natural. So that means, but to do that also, we actually require some information which would help us have the mind perspective to focus. Now, how I wanted to tell Biafrans some things about how they can focus in these times where the narrative, the information, the everything that is all around is confusing, and so many people are bringing so many things into it. Just like what Jesus said to the disciples, you know, in Matthew chapter 24, he said that if the days are not shortened, even the elect might be deceived. Which means that if there's about to be a manifestation of a kingdom, there would always be a concept to derail the minds of the people against that kingdom so that it doesn't manifest. And that means the people must now become, you know, knowledgeable to understand what information they should accept and what they should reject so that they can actually make that kingdom come. Because the invocation of the spiritual or an expectation is based on what they have actually allowed and disallowed. So how do you how do you challenge Biafrans or encourage Biafrans to stay focused in the midst of the confusion that's prevalent?
Thank you for that. And whatever I wished to tell you was now captured even by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I'm going to summarize it by quoting or paraphrasing the message of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And anybody who does not see this message and understand it for what it is not a true Biafran. And that person subscribed to the evil contraption called Nigeria that is destroying even their own lives. These were the words of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and it is these words that will bring Biafra. First of all, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I remembered, told us that we should keep account of everything that he has said. And he told us that any day that he deviates from the message of freedom for Biafra, any day that he himself, because he recognized that even the elect can be deceived. So he says to all the faithful across the world that any day he himself deviates from this hallowed gospel of freedom of Biafra here on earth, that we should treat him as one of those who betrayed Biafra. He told us that, and that message was very clear. But now, the second message is the most pivotal, and that is what Biafrans, genuine Biafrans, must remember and now stand their grounds and get this Biafra straight away. That message is this. And I think in this one, I'm going to quote Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, not just paraphrasing, but word for word. Let me read it. So I think I have it somewhere. It says, and I quote, anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2020 will stop us, Chineke akponyaho oku. All we want is Biafra, and all we will get is Biafra. Unquote.
All we will get.
Anybody thinking that Igbo presidency, before then, we haven't heard of our obedience. People need to understand. Before, when he said this, we have not. In fact, I think he was in the spirit, seeing that these people are going to bring us to derail the project. I need people to understand what he said will happen to anybody who thinks this way. He says, anybody thinking that Igbo presidency 2023 will stop us, Chineke Chukwokike akponyaho oku. So if you want Chineke to follow you, oku, go and start believing in Igbo presidency 2023. Nnamdi Kanu is saying to you, and I'm re-echoing it now, all we want is Biafra, and all we will get is Biafra. On that, I say thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really, really grateful. In fact, we can't pay you for this great work, this great teaching. Biafrans are grateful. The messages, and even after the broadcast, when people watch the messages they send, they are so great. People are benefiting. And of course, we know that by the time 100 people are able to catch this message and they are able to influence another 100, and the other 100 are able to influence another 100, we begin to spread the power that is resident in us and begin to get even with what we want, and then begin to take what we want together with one kind of mindset. And that means that we need to share this broadcast to other people and then forward it to all our social media platforms so that people can learn from this great God servant who has taught us today. And I want you to understand that these messages are fundamental. These are things that the world needs. These are things that the world wants. These are the things that will change the world. These are the things that will change our nation. These are the things that will change our world. So we must take them as serious as they are. It is not all about money, because there are some things that are so important that when they become real in the lives of the people, money will not be their problem. So I want you to understand this. So, sir, we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you for what you've done. We want to thank you for the teachings. In fact, I know that we're going to have you again we are actually stressing you on your mornings, but of course we are glad that you always accept these things. And we ask you on Thursday again, we're going to be having you by 1 p.m. and on Thursday. And then this time around, we're going to come with a perspective. Now, the perspective I want us to look at this time is this: the corruption or the factors of corruption that have emanated from the concept of being less than animals. Because these are the things that have destroyed the world. So we're going to look at those factors, those elements, those things that have come out of them. This less than animal behavior that we have found ourselves globally, the factors and the corruption that have come out of them. And we're going to look at these factors and see how we're going to begin to treat our nation so that we can begin to have a stable and become the light as we're supposed to be to the nations of the world. We are going to have you on Thursday. Please make out time for us, 1 p.m. We want to have you here. And I know that everybody wants to say, if they have the chance, they want to say thank you, sir, and they would want to say something to you. But we are grateful. So we're going to leave you here, sir. And if you have the last word to Biafrans, please just say it so that you can now.
Thank you, Kelechi, once again for all that you're doing. Thank you so much for providing this platform so I can now engage Biafrans directly. I've been advocating for humanity for so long, but then I realized that everything must start from Biafra. So I want to make sure that I contributed to that movement.
Before you go on, sir, somebody's just asking a question here. Maybe just address it for 2 minutes before you go on. He said, considering the fact that most, that's Emmanuel Afure, he says, considering the fact that most Biafrans have been so Nigerialized and corrupted over the years, how possible will it be to raise a society that people are not less than animals in their mindset? Okay, sir, don't answer it here, because this question also is part of what I just said we're going to treat the next time. Because when we look at the factors, from the factors, we're going to get the answers to this question. So please, Emmanuel, please prepare your mind for Thursday, 1 p.m. You're going to see you're going to get the answers. In fact, it's going to come in a great term, because not just the 2 minutes thing, there are going to be some things released that will actually open our minds to the factors that actually have destroyed humanity and all of that, so that we'll be able to learn all of these things, and then we can build a society and raise a society that is less than animals, or society where we have people behave less than animals. So the mindset will be affected. So in the next meeting, we're going to have this. So he will be here in the studios on Thursday by 1 p.m. Biafra time, and this question will be answered. So, sir, please just conclude there so that we can allow you go.
Yeah, your response is great. So please make sure that that question comes in, and then we'll take our time to deal with it. Yes, and that question is also great because it shows that people are capturing the message. I want to thank you exceedingly for this work, and I need you to understand that every sacrifice has a promise. So the sacrifice you're making, because it's not just what I am doing or what it's just through God's grace that I'm able to focus my mind to know that this Biafran thing couldn't be ignored. So So I now see it as a privilege to be here, because for me, it is a calling. And you can't equate a calling to anything made by God, let alone things recreated by God, things recreated by man, like money. You can't equate a calling that God gifted you. That's why we don't sell our teachings. We don't. If God were to sell the air that we breathe, through which we do without which we can't do anything, if God were to sell it, how much will it cost?
Oh.
So anything that gives life, which is part of what we are doing here, anything that brings and leads people to the truth, must be free of charge. And people must sacrifice to give. If God has gifted you, the message I'm giving you is not mine. I'm a sower. And if God has given me the seeds through the message, I have a duty to release the seed. So I want to give God all the glory, and I want to thank you, Ambrose, for creating the opportunity through which we engage. I say to all Biafrans, I salute you all, genuine Biafrans, wherever you are. You're my brothers, you're my sisters. We are meant for this day, and we are created for this purpose. And like our great leader, Mazin Nandekano, we must go for Biafra, because that is all we want, and that is all we must have. Anybody who thinks that they can bribe or derail us with presidency 2023. In the words of Mazin Nandekano, Chineke akpọ onye ahụ ọkụ.
He said,
I salute you all, and thank you very much for this day. I look forward to Thursday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Dear friends, you've heard, you've seen, it was just powerful. It was just powerful. It was just powerful. These are the things that will actually make our nation great. We shouldn't take them for granted. It will help us not to flaunt our tantrums, getting angry over so many things, because it will now begin to make us see that most things that are happening in our society is because of ignorance. But when we begin to teach people, we begin to put them in the right perspective, and then they begin to get the message the way it's supposed to be. That is why Thursdays and Mondays have been designed for this, where we can be teaching real human values, where people can learn things that will change their mindset, so that as we come into a nation, we're not going to have another zoo. We're not going to have another place where terrible things will be happening. We want to change our mindset. We want to change the mindset of our children, our brothers, our sisters, our parents, and everybody, because we want to build. Biafra is the light. If it's going to be the light, it must emanate the truth. It's the truth that actually proves the light or reflects the light. So that is what we are doing on this platform. And I want you, please, we have spent much time, but you are going to share this video on all your social media platforms, and you're going to like this video also, so that people can get linked to it, and then also can watch, and then they can also share and like it also, and then they can also subscribe. If you have not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to it, and then we're going to go on together. I want you to understand that don't take these things for granted. These are things that people, if you have the opportunity, if we have had the opportunity of having this kind of things go on, this kind of teachings go on, we'll have less saboteurs. We're going to have less troubles. Well, in fact, we would have gotten our freedom a long time ago, because our people will now begin to look in the perspective of reality, rather than looking at the mirages, the mirage of the money they want to make from politicians so that they can betray the cause. They'll be looking at reality of freedom that brings even more than that money of betrayal, that brings more than that mirage of something that feels like the real thing. We want our freedom, and our freedom will come by collective knowledge, collective information that speaks of true knowledge based on understanding, for us to work on, for wisdom and for experience to bring us freedom. So that is what we are working towards. And I want you to always understand that your own job here is also to get other people informed, so that they will be part of this. Thank you all for those of you who have written, who wrote, who asked questions, who have said something. Please teach our history as well. Yes, we're going to be teaching all of this, because by the time we're through with this, we're going to now begin to relate them on our historic approach. Sorry, our historic source, historic process, the history, the things that concerns us, how we began and where we got it wrong, where we got it right, and then we'll begin to position them rightly, and then we begin to help our children understand better, help ourselves understand better, help our children understand better, and then we all will get better. That is the essence. This is, as I told you yesterday, this teaching and Biafra freedom is actually our church. What is the meaning of a church? The word church is from the word ecclesia, which is a Grecian word or a Greek word, which means called out ones. Biafrans are called out ones. So when you hear Mazin Nnamdi talk about religion, Biafra is a religion. He's actually talking about the precepts or the concept or the template of the platform where we all gather as the called out ones to worship. So when he says on Radio Biafra we worship, which then Radio Biafra was hallowed, when he was here and has been corrupted, we always have other platforms, and this is one of the platforms where we worship him by understanding, by receiving the word, by the teaching and everything. And that is the basic thing. We Biafrans are the worshippers because we are the called out ones. So what we do here is that we are worshiping. So when Mazin Nnamdi says we are worshiping, when he broadcasts, he is actually talking about the expression and the acquisition of knowledge in the presence of Chukwu, who has given us the ability to pursue and to express what he has given to us to achieve. That is what we are here for. And I want to tell you that the teachings here are blessed. Please, on Thursday, invite other people to come and join. Let them come and listen to this thing live. And if you have a question, please pencil it down. Just write the question down. On Thursday, you're going to display the question, or we're going to give you the number. You're going to call in and ask the guest the question. Then he's going to give the answers. So please, I want you to actually position yourself. Prepare your questions, those difficult questions about humanity, about in relation to our freedom, in relation to what we're doing, and then you can get answers to these things. Because when you have the right mindset, when you have the right information, every other person who comes your way will learn from them. Because by the time you open your mouth to speak, rather than abusing them, telling them that they are this, they are that, tell them the right thing they need to know. Before you know it, you win more converts into understanding what we're doing, so that they will know why we're fighting for freedom. We want freedom because we want a nation that will transform us and operate on the culture that God has given to us, that Chukwu has given to us, the culture that expresses his will, the culture that expresses his person, the culture that expresses his purpose, the culture that expresses his blessings on us. That is what we want to achieve. And I want to tell you that this we are going to achieve on this platform. Thank you all for joining, and you are doing well, bro. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Iwunne. Thank you so much. And thank you. And everyone who has commented, I can't actually go all over the messages, the comments and all of that. I can't do that now, but I want to tell you that I love you all from my heart and I appreciate you. And when I see you part of this and commenting, I know that yes, we have people who actually appreciate what we're doing, that even if we're doing it not asking for money, we're doing it sowing the seed, it is getting to people, and people are valuing the seed. The seed of actually teaching and getting people to understand the truth is the most valuable seed, because it springs up in the heart of the people and it creates the people who are strong enough to defend the cause of what Chukwu has called us to be. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for being part of this teaching. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Biafra time tomorrow, Wednesday, and we're going to be here 1 p.m. Biafra time, and we're going to be continuing the teaching. There's some great expositions I'm making. We're going to continue on that template and we're going to talk about it. And on Thursday, we're going to have our guest again. Oh, today is Monday, so tomorrow is Tuesday. Okay, tomorrow we're going to be talking. Tomorrow we're going to deal on some. Is today Tuesday or something, or Monday? Today's Monday, right? Oh my God, can you imagine? Today's Monday. Don't mind me, please. Sometimes I'm old age. Somebody will say, at this age you are talking about old age. Well, I'm just joking. Britain, you have to advertise this so that many people can start being educated. It has been taking thousands of years that the white man reorientated. It is also going to take long to get. Yes, you are correct, Chisom. You are correct. And that is why we also rely on you to advertise this platform, so that people can also watch from there and people can know all of this. And of course, we're going to advertise it. You're going to hear it. You're going to hear, the advertisement. We're going to be publishing it on social media platforms and all other platforms. And by God's grace, as you also share it, you're advertising. So we'll be doing the little we can do until we're able to get people to understand fully and come to terms with this. The little we do, we keep doing it, and then we're going to get results. Thank you so much all of you that have contributed, that have spoken, that have written something. Please set your questions, prepare your questions, prepare your hard questions. And then I'm going to set the numbers again. You're going to call the number if you have to call. If you can't call, you just send the question, and then we're going to have you on the show and the program. Our guest will be coming again on Thursday, 1 p.m. He comes on Mondays, 1 p.m. and Thursdays, 1 p.m. And then he talks to us for the time he has, at least minimum 1 hour. He expresses and releases that anointing upon his life to us so that we can learn more and learn more. And tomorrow I'll be here again, Tuesday, tomorrow, the 18th of October. I'm going to be here with us, and then we're going to be looking forward to other things that we're going to discuss. Very, very important, crucial things. We're going to be analyzing some things that are going on now and some things we need to know in relation to all of that. And then, of course, about our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We'll be talking about them also. God bless you, Rigo. Thank you for joining me. Please share this broadcast, like this video, share to your social media platforms, and then on your social media platforms, and then please subscribe to this channel, and together win. Thank you so much, all. I love you all, wherever you are. Let your day be blessed. Let everything you do be blessed. Let your week be blessed. Let God bless you, and let you also to see the freedom and enter into Biafra in truth, and make you prosper in the land of Biafra as a free person which he has created to be. Thank you so much. Remain blessed. I love you all, and